Hello everybody, some would say I'm the Reverse, and welcome to my review for Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 12, titled, I Am Legends. This episode is a really good episode. I'm just going to come out and say it right away. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a really fun episode. And a lot happened, so let's get into it. So the episode picks up right where we left off last episode, where the team is still in that dorm room, or not dorm room, sorority from last week, which if you guys haven't seen my review for last week's episode, I didn't like that episode, and I thought we were going to get like a continuation of that storyline. We didn't, though. The Fates, Lachesis, and Atropo or something like that. I can't remember. They took over the Wave Rider with Astra's help, and the team is stuck in this sorority, or they open it and the portal kind of screws up that Constantine sort of put on the spell thing, and they are in London. So a very not necessarily dark place to start the episode, more like, I don't know, tense place to start the episode, where our team is trapped in London, and Ava suggests that they go to London and they get this time courier, and then they portal back to the Wave Rider. So that's their main goal within this episode. Unfortunately, Atropo, I think that's her name. I'm going to be calling her Atropo the entire episode. Just because I can't remember if that's her name or not. I remember Lachesis and Clotho is Charlie. I just don't remember the other one. I think it's Atropo, though. I'm not sure. She does this little spell thing. She goes to this globe, and, she puts this little spell on the area where the legends are trapped at, basically turning everybody there into zombies, except for the legends, because they're immortal. But what I don't understand is, why didn't Zari turn into a zombie? She's not immortal, and that entire area, everybody was turned into a zombie, unless maybe it's all the dead people that were buried in, like, graveyards that have risen, and I don't know, maybe that's it. Or maybe the legends were just outside of the area that the zombies were created in. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with one of those answers, because theoretically, if the legends were in the middle of the radius where the zombies were created at, and it wasn't from dead bodies, then Zari would be a zombie, because she is not immortal like the rest of the legends. So yeah. So the legends, obviously, they are mortal, but unfortunately they don't have any way to get back to the Wave Rider. They're stuck in London, so they take a bus, and I thought this was a really funny part of the episode, because obviously they're all immortal time-traveling superheroes, and they have to take a bus, because none of them fly, none of them have super speed or anything. The only power they really have is, they have magic, but they also have just the steel. So yeah, very interesting part of the episode where they got on the bus. They actually stole the bus, and it was funny, Mick was driving on the wrong side of the road and all that, and Mick eventually runs this lady over. So they get out of the bus, and they're investigating, and turns out the person they ran over didn't die, because it was a zombie. All these zombies start popping up. They surround them, and yeah, there's a big fight scene and stuff where they're fighting a bunch of zombies and such, and yeah. And then they make it to London, and they get the time courier, and it turns out it's dead. So yeah. Actually, oh yeah. Now there was a little thing in between there. Their bus got damaged in the battle, and they were walking around trying to hitchhike. People thought they were zombies because of the way they were walking, because I'm pretty sure Ava had like a broken leg or something, and eventually they ran into the military, and Ava got shot right in the head. Obviously, she's immortal, so she just came up and it healed, and the bullet fell out, which was kind of funny. But then they get captured, and they just escape this. They escape the transport because Mick says he's been locked in one of these transports before. He knows the weak spot, and Nick punches the door. Mick, what did I say? Nate, not Nick. Nick is the actor's name. Nate punches the door, and they escape. So yeah. Then they go to London. Excuse me. Then they go to London. They get the time carrier, but it's dead. And then they sit around the table, and they all are talking. You know, it's kind of like an emotional moment. How if what they would do with the Loom of Fate, like give them the perfect life or whatever, and it was just a cool kind of moment. And yeah. Right before that, though, something kind of happened that I didn't really like that much. Zari and Constantine had sex. I hate when the show does this. They just have two characters just go in the back room and just start making out and having sex. It's just really stupid. I don't really like it, especially with these two, like, just out of nowhere chemistry. I don't like it. They don't really have any chemistry at all. Really, the only interesting part about their relationship before this was her, like, telling him to not smoke, and not even interesting. But I just don't like them together, and I don't like when the show, instead of having, like, I don't know, I don't know how to put it, just like a normal relationship. This show tends to have these characters hook up in either one of two ways. Either that we see them start making out and then it cuts away, or they wake up in the same bed. And it's exhausting, to be honest. It's really exhausting. They've been doing this for 5 seasons now. It's getting really old, and there hasn't been one relationship on this show that I've actually liked. And Zari and Constantine definitely at the bottom of that list. I do not like this relationship whatsoever. And yeah. This show does a terrible job at shipping characters, and I don't like it. But yeah, they start getting attacked by zombies in London, and Sarah reveals to Ava that when she touched Ava's hand before, she saw her death. She saw Sarah's death, not Ava's. So Sarah saw her own death, and she didn't see anything past it, which makes sense. Most of the time when people have the power or something related to seeing the future, they can never see past their own death. And that's the case here, I guess. So she sees her own death, and then there's a bunch of zombies that come, and they break in. There's a huge battle, they get a shotgun, and, Mick is shooting fire at them and stuff, and the zombies surround Sarah on, like, a pool table, because they're in a pub, and Sarah dies, just like her premonition said. Obviously, Sarah's gonna come back. She is basically the closest thing the show has to a main character, so obviously she's not going to be killed off and then just forgotten about in this filler-esque episode, and she's definitely not going to get killed by zombies, so we know she's coming back. But yeah, a lot of characters died in this episode. Sarah, and then back on the ship there was a little bit of a storyline with Gary and Gideon sneaking around. They stole the rings back from the Fates, and Gary used, like, a spell to hide them, because obviously he is Constantine's apprentice. And then after that, he gets captured, and he convinces Astra to save her mother again, because earlier in the episode, Lachesis told Astra that if Astra brings her mother back, her mother's just gonna die again. She showed her the future. She said, your mother's just gonna die again. What's the point? And, Astra went along with this for a little while. And then Gary convinced her that she should bring her mother back. And so Astra saved Gary, and then Lachesis killed Astra. And then Lachesis killed Gary. And they got the rings back and stuff. So, Gary, Astra, and Sarah are all dead temporarily. And Behrad is dead, and Astra's mother is dead. So there's a lot of crap to do with the Loom. They gotta save Sarah, Astra, Behrad, Gary, Astra's mother. They gotta bring back Sarah's vision. So they got a lot of work to do with the Loom. I'm guessing they might do it next week. I don't know. Next week looks like a filler episode. I'm pretty sure next week is the Star Trek episode. I'm not a Star Trek fan. I never have been. I've never seen a Star Trek movie or TV show. I've never read any books or anything. As you guys may know, I'm more of a Star Wars fan. And, so yeah, I've never seen any Star Trek. So, obviously, Star Trek fans will like next week a lot more than I will. I'm not foreseeing myself liking next week. Not that I hate Star Trek or anything. It's just I have never seen it. I don't have an emotional connection to it or anything. So most of the stuff will go right over my head. So next week's episode, don't expect an in-depth review of all the Star Trek Easter eggs, because I won't get any of them. All I know is that it's like a play on the Wrath of Khan, which is one of the Star Trek films, I believe. So, yeah, I'm not really looking forward to next week's episode, just because I feel like most of what they are trying to accomplish next week will be Star Trek references, which I won't understand. So, yeah. But this episode was really, really good. I enjoyed it. Definitely one of the best of the season. The last few episodes have been really good. Mainly Zari Not Zari and The Great British Fake Off were good. And then Ship Broken was decent. Last week's episode wasn't great, but this week's episode is really good. So the back half of this season, which I guess there isn't really a back half since there was no break, there was no crossover in between. But I'm categorizing the back half as 9 and onward, since there was a bit of a break in between 8 and 9 just because of the COVID delays and stuff. But yeah. So, yeah, tell me in the comments what you thought of this episode. Where would you rank it within this season? And most definitely the recent episodes. I just want to see where you guys would rank it. I don't know if this would... I can't decide if this is better than Zari Not Zari and The Great British Fake Off, or if it's worse. Definitely better than the last 2 weeks. Ship Broken wasn't terrible, but Freaks and Greeks wasn't that good. So, yeah. So yeah, tell me in the comments what you thought. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my future content coming up in the next few days. And, yeah. See ya.